Let's check in with Turning Point's White House correspondent Monica Paige at the White House. Monica, President Trump's best and closest friend, Jerome Powell, who he loves so very much, and the Fed board said, nah, not lowering interest rates. Some expected that. Obviously, President Trump is not going to be happy about that. But what do you think the White House's response is going to be here?
Well, this decision just brought those two even closer, if you can imagine that. So, this is the fifth straight meeting where the Fed has ultimately left these rates unchanged. We're at 4.5% right now. And as we have seen the numbers coming out when it comes to this economy, when it comes to job growth, we saw just this morning the Q2 of the GDP was up 3%, which is way better than experts predicted. I mean, the signs seemed like they were all there that the Fed was going to cut some of these rates. But unfortunately, some pretty bad news. I think we expect the meeting to reconvene in September to try and revisit this. We also are going to be seeing job numbers coming out this Friday, which could only add to the reasoning why the Fed should be lowering these rates. And I'm sure by the time this show airs, Jobob, we will be hearing from the president at some point via Truth Social to express his frustration with Jerome Powell, of
I
course.
was I was just gonna say it's about 3 p.m. Eastern, and I would imagine that by the time people on the East Coast are watching this, there will have been a barrage of
Yes.
fun and probably a little bit tormentive criticism of the Fed chair. But again, we'll all find out how this unfolds together, and I guess we'll just wait to see what happens in September. Other stuff going on at the White House today. There's a lot. There's the VA reform. There's Medicare, or sorry, yeah. There's the health tech summit event party. What's going on later this evening at the White House?
Yeah, essentially, it's the make health technology great again, where
Mm.
top companies like Microsoft and Oracle are coming together to try and create these digital tools that are meant to ease the exchange of patient information, whether that's elderly patients or patients with disabilities, to kind of ease the transfer of information over. And it's just meant to just make the whole process easier for Medicare and Medicaid. We heard from the left that Trump was going to cut these Medicaid and Medicare, and clearly the exact opposite is happening. The president wants to reform these kinds of programs and make them easier and simpler for the American people. And that includes maybe cutting that waste, fraud, and abuse found within those programs and just changing them to make them altogether better. But this event really comes on the 60th anniversary of the Social Security amendments, which established Medicare and Medicaid, fun fact. And separately,
Mm.
we just saw the president sign a VA Home Loan Reform Act, which is going to help prevent and fix homeless veterans. Of course, as of right now, there are a lot of homeless veterans, more than 60,000 at this time, that are afraid of losing their homes. So this is going to provide a foreclosure security net for those who are afraid of losing their homes, and also allocate an additional $146 million to veteran homeless programs to keep our heroes off the streets. So there's a lot happening today here at the White House. Of course, as you know, Joe Bob, there's never a dull moment here.
Never a dull moment. Having said that, regarding the health tech stuff, no, we don't want those things to run more efficiently to help more people, because that would be fascism or whatever the libs have decided to call the president today. such as,
Right.
such as usual. Monica Page, Turning Point's White House correspondent. Thanks for taking the time. Appreciate talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.